Welcome back, guys. This is the King of Weebs here, and this is what if Deku's mom, Deku lost his mom, part 1. I actually recorded most of this part, but it actually got deleted for some reason, and so I'm going to do it again. I started at 129. It's 144, nearly 20 minutes of recording. Gone to waste. Anyway, here's ways. We'll actually, this might be a bit shorter now, but hey, I'll blame my iPad, man. But anyway. We begin this wave by Deku being in his second year of middle school and pretty much being bullied as usual. Bakugo here was a bit more aggressive towards Deku because he actually hated him, and I'm going to give Deku some backstory. He actually does have a quirk here, and he has multiple quirks. He will have multiple quirks, and he has a quirk here because it's actually Satoru Gojo's power, and it's his quirk is called Infinity. However, of course, Satoru uses cursed energy. However, Deku just has it. Don't ask why. It's called plot armor. But anyways, of course, Deku has this power. However, it was so weak, and the infinity space between him and the outer world was so small that it was useless. Really useless. Pretty much, Deku could get punched and still feel it, while Gojo's Infinity was so it was actually very big. This, people couldn't get to him. There was a certain distance they couldn't pass because of just the Infinity being there. And anyway, I will mention his quirks later on. Deku, one day he was walking home, and after being beaten up that day, and that day he actually did try to fight back against the bullies. However, Bakugo just pushed him away by actually using an explosion, pretty much ripping all his clothes. Not all his clothes, but pretty much his shirt, his blazer and everything, and he was shirtless at that point. Just the left arm and a bit of the side was left, and Midoriya was walking home, or Izuku. I'll be calling him Midoriya, and during this time, before he actually started walking home, he did have bruises and everything. He actually went to the infirmary. No one was there, and so he actually had to bandage himself up. And during this time, Bakugo and his boys, or gang of bullies, actually did encounter someone. This was Deku's mom, and they realized who that is, and actually attacked her. Literally attacked her. They started beating her up just to make it harder on Izuku and Midoriya, and pretty much Bakugo at first he was against this. However, after seeing everyone do it, he's like, might as well, whatever, it's just another Deku. And he actually did do it, and it's been a while. They actually did it in the back alley, and it was actually around an area where no one really walked around, and Midoriya was actually walking around this area because it was actually a shortcut to his home. And even Inko was actually taking the shortcut because she was coming back from work early, and she thought Midoriya was already home and wanted to surprise him. However, he wasn't, and in the end she was taken to a back alley, pretty much getting destroyed, as in no type of that kind of assault. I don't want to say the name, but I'm just saying, just getting pretty much not brutally beaten, but I'm just saying she was getting beaten up like a normal bully would do at school. You know how that happens, like punching, kicking. However, since Inko was actually pretty weak compared to them, it did hurt her quite a bit more. And once Midoriya was actually walking past her, he did hear a woman actually pretty much asking for help, and of course Midoriya's just will to help others kicked in. And I'm going to say that during this time, All Might was actually around there, and he did hear it, and he was about to help. However, he sees this kid running towards them. He was bandaged up for some reason, and he saw them running towards them, and he screamed at Mom, no! And basically Inko says, stay away, please, Izuku. And after this, Bakugo's like, goddamn Deku, and pretty much blasts his own mom. Well, not his own mom, Midoriya's own mom. And Midoriya sees all of this happening, and Inko was pretty much on the ground, close to lifeless. All Might has had enough. He came too late. He, instead of helping straight away, allowing the kid to watching the kid do something, he allowed a innocent civilian get hurt by middle school bullies. Now, All Might said, "How dare you do something like this?" All Might was not angry at the kids, not angry at anyone except for himself, and pretty much he let out a pretty scary voice because of himself being angry at himself. Is that, "Sorry, boys, let's take her to the hospital." He starts jumping towards the hospital, being as fast as he can to bring this lady to, well, to medical attention. Of course, Midoriya then heads to the hospital as well, and of course, Bakugo has the realization of what he just did. Of course, at first, he's like, "Oh, it's fine." Of course, all his friends are like, "It's fine, it's fine. She's just unconscious. She must have just had a shock. Anyway, let's go home. It's getting late. No more arcade today, then. It's getting too late. My mom's gonna shout at me." Anyways, Bakugo was just convinced, and during this time, All Might did leave Midoriya saying, "I'm sorry for coming a bit late." Midoriya's like, "It's fine, it's fine." Even his fanboy, like, self didn't even come out at that point, and All Might left. Midoriya was on his own, just waiting for what the doctors would say. Inko, unfortunately, didn't make it, and Midoriya was hit by the news, and All Might was actually told the next day. All Might punched the wall, on the street where he was actually told by pretty much doctors, or the doctor who was actually going to work, and destroyed the wall. Of course, people was kind of scared. However, All Might's like, "I'm sorry, I'll repair this." And anyways, he realized that he himself was a reason why an innocent civilian who was just walking home got killed. Of course, Midoriya could have pressed charges on Bakugo and his friends for pretty much manslaughter. However, he didn't. Midoriya broke down at her funeral the next week, and on that day, the class was told. People were whispering and everything. People say didn't really know, but they felt sad for Deku, of course. Now, the bullies actually didn't say anything and said, "She didn't die because of us. She died because of something else, probably a heart attack." That weakling, and started laughing, while Bakugo, instead of laughing, he said, "That's enough, you guys. Now let's go home." Of course, he fakes he goes home, and instead, he actually sneaks into his home to get some black clothing. He starts heading to the funeral center, or wherever, well, the cemetery. He heads there, and it starts raining. He has an umbrella, and he actually sees Izuku. He sees him crying, and pretty much doesn't have the courage to go and say sorry. He just stands there and hides behind a wall. Midoriya, spending a few hours crying, actually heads home then, and pretty much says his goodbyes and heads home. Still crying, of course. And Bakugo wanted to stop Midoriya to apologize. However, something was stopping him. The guilt. He was scared. Literally scared. Midoriya goes home, and here is where his mindset breaks down. The society that he always thought that was normal was full of heroes, and of course villains as well, but mostly heroes, was a lie. It was all a facade. A facade is something that... A facade is the outer appearance of something, but is that if someone looks nice in the outside and inside is pretty much a really bad person, let's say a very kind person to you, always seems kind. However, indoors, he pretty much abuses anyone in his home or her home. That is basically a facade she or he puts on. A mask to cover up their true self. Anyway, Midoriya realizes this, and this is where his quirk awakening happens. I'm sure you all know what quirk awakenings are, and you will learn it during season 6, not even season 5. Season 5 probably just gonna be bloody class A versus class B, but anyway, no, 1A versus 1B versus no verbs lol. His quirk awakening was actually activating his other quirks, which is actually intangibility. Of course, he can't become intangible forever. He actually has a drawback, making his Infinity even weaker. However, his Infinity was the one that had the quirk awakening, and he actually became just as strong as Gojo's. A few inches, I'll say 3 inches, so no one can get. If someone tries to punch him and he actually activates his Infinity, he pretty much doesn't do anything. While intangibility, he can only use it up to 5 minutes at best, and averagely 2 to 3 minutes. And also he unlocks his flame powers, and here it's actually pretty much cremation. It's literally the same exact quirk. However, he actually doesn't have any drawbacks to it. It doesn't hurt his body because of his weak because remember, he had this quirk awakening. However, his quirk is always active at a very weak state, and even that had a quirk awakening. Basically, the lowest he can go is literally a half an inch, which protects him from the fire, and the fire pretty much can't do anything. Izuku will always have half an inch of Infinity active. However, people can still punch him and he would still feel it, or he would still get pretty much the effects of it. As in, if someone punches him so hard, like All Might could literally punch him so hard, if his Infinity is in half an inch, he can actually feel it. If someone has a quirk strong enough to actually make Izuku feel the impact, he will, a very strong quirk like cremation, the Bakugo's, All Might's All for One, and One for All. Of course, those kind of strong quirks will affect Izuku when his when his Infinity is at half an inch. However, when he's at 3 inches, pretty much nothing can happen, and it only goes to half an inch if Izuku uses his intangibility for 5 minutes plus. Anyways, if he uses it for over, let's say, 5 minutes, it will start affecting his actual health, and he will start actually burning through his literal health stamina. Like, he will get very sick easily. His immune system will start hurting, and anyway, also Izuku now pretty much doesn't want to go to school anymore, and he was about to drop out. However, he just decides not even to go to school to tell them that he's dropping out, and he just keeps missing school day after day. Counseling came to Izuku every single day. However, Izuku never opened the door to them. In fact, he actually did go out to get weights, get training, things and everything. And anyways, now, All Might did try to go to Izuku. However, he never got to reach out to him. He was able to get to his home, and he was going to show his true self. However, he was never able to get in his home. Izuku either was never home, out training, or he was just no opening. Even though knowing it's All Might, he didn't want to open. He didn't hate All Might. However, he did have some kind of resentment towards him, which didn't affect him at all. However, that resentment was more to the fake heroes of society. All Might did come to aid them. However, it was a bit late, which actually did make him realize that, or even All Might is not a perfect hero, and you can't blame him. He's still human. And also, there are other heroes that he actually found out about that they're just doing it for money, and he kind of gets a stain ideology. However, at the same time, he keeps his fanboy over All Might. His fanboy himself always told him to be like All Might, and he doesn't become a stain. He's not a hero killer. He doesn't want to kill heroes. Remember, even though they're doing it for the money, he does know that they're helping people, and so he doesn't really want to pretty much kill them. And anyways, now also during this time, Izuku was getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, just training harder and harder, doing all the work. And one day, pretty much, All Might saw that one beach that was full of trash clean. It was cleaned. He did see the trash disappearing bit by bit. However, one day Izuku decided to do all in one night, testing his true self. Of course, bit by bit was actually Izuku doing it once per week, helping out the society, build a true, like, a, a true self, not a facade. And in the end, Izuku did it all in one night, and All Might needed to know who he was. He was going through the beach, and he saw one kid standing there, a white-haired kid. Izuku was just looking at the sunrise. Of course, All Might was about to approach him. However, once Izuku turns around, All Might sees those green eyes that he saw nearly a year ago. Yes, nearly a year ago. It's nearing his last day of school, or last 3 months. Izuku was going to show up to school again to do his finals exam to go to UA High. Izuku has been studying, kept up with studies and everything, and he's even smarter than ever. Anyways, Izuku on that day has a shower, takes his bag, and he already bought new school clothing, especially because the ones that he used to wear don't fit him anymore because of his muscular features now, or muscular body. Now, Izuku heads to school for the first time in nearly a year, and All Might actually knocked at his door. Izuku opened it for once and said, "Hello, All Might. I know you've been knocking at my door for a long time. However, let me just tell you something. It's not your fault. I don't believe that it's your fault. In fact, it's no one's fault. That's why I pressed no charges against Bakugo. Or should I call him Kachan? Anyway, I'll just call him Bakugo. Kachan is gone. Anyway, I'll see you around. Just keep doing your work. You're an amazing hero. You're someone who I look up to, and really there's no need to come to apologize to me. You're still a human. You're not perfect. So, it's not really your fault, like I said multiple times anyway. Bye." All Might was going to stop Izuku. However, he didn't know if Izuku wanted to become a hero or not. And so he didn't ask him to become the next vessel of All For One, or the next successor of One For All, not All For One. Of course, he was going to see if there was anyone worthy of it in the entrance exam of the first year of UA High. Otherwise, he was just going to give it to Mirio if there was no one worthy of it. No one that he saw that was worthy of it. Izuku was worthy of it because he did see... Izuku did not notice it was his mum when she screamed. He could tell that because he was listening to everything. He only said, "Mom?" Like, he was confused. Oh, sorry for the noise, that was me. He was confused that, wait, what, Mom? And that's why he realized that Izuku didn't know that it was his mother, but it was a random person, and Izuku just ran towards them. And only a hero would do that. Anyways, Izuku he knows that the only people who walk around those streets are the people who know that these streets are dangerous. And even though Izuku knew that this was a dangerous street and it was a dangerous alleyway, he still went to help that person. He knew he would be a perfect hero. However, he doesn't know if Izuku really wants to be a hero, and so he's just going to wait for the entrance exam to see if there was a suitable person for One For All. And so he goes off on his own way for the next 3 months. Anyways, Izuku shows up to school for the first time. Bakugo stands up and says, "Deku." Midoriya just looks at him and says, "I told you multiple times, Bakugo. My name is Midoriya, Izuku Midoriya. So just call me by one of those names and just shut up with your Deku." Midoriya was very cold to him, and he was not scared of Bakugo. No one was really picking on Midoriya anymore. Bakugo didn't he didn't get scared of Midoriya at all. However, what hurt him the most is that Midoriya called him Bakugo, something that he took for granted. Midoriya always calling him Kachan. He really took it for granted in the original. But here, he really felt it. It really hurt him hearing his own name from Midoriya. He considered this as a friend. He realized that. And on the last day of school, Midoriya did all his exams. He didn't write anything for his career path. And he was about to leave. He didn't talk to any teachers. He was just there to attend school, did his exams, got top scores, and in the end didn't even attend the ceremony, the graduation ceremony. Of course, in the end, he comes last just to take his certificate to show that he graduated, and then left. He didn't even take a picture. He didn't handshake the principal. Nothing. He just took it. He snatched it pretty much and said thank you, and started walking away from the hall. Then, in the end, Bakugo actually goes with him and calls out to Midoriya, literally saying, "Midoriya, I have something for you to tell you." And Naruto, Midoriya just looks back and says, "If it's to apologize, keep it to yourself. I really don't care. Anyways, I'll see you around, Bakugo." Of course, Bakugo's mom did come to find out everything a year later. Of course, she was told a long time ago that Midoriya's mom was pretty much killed. However, she didn't know it was her own son, and she did beat him for it. And of course, because he killed the person, and he was not charged. Midoriya didn't press any charges against him. She went to Midoriya's home that night and knocked on the door. Midoriya opened up, and she saw that Midoriya had white hair. She asked what happened to Midoriya, and Midoriya says, "Oh, Miss Bakugo, come in. Do you want some tea? Anything?" And he was very polite. She did apologize on the behalf of Bakugo, and Midoriya asked if Bakugo asked her to come here, and she said no. Why? And Naruto, Midoriya says, "Oh no, he just tried to tell me sorry today after a full year, but it is what it is. I don't really care. It's not that it matters to me if he says sorry or not. I never really held him accountable for it. It was just my fault for me coming in late, or my mother taking that deadly shortcut. Anyway, it's getting late. I gotta wake up tomorrow early. I'll say you have to go. I'm sorry. I don't really want to kick you out. In fact, I can drop you off if you want." And Bakugo's mom says, "Midoriya, it's fine." And anyways, Midoriya was still polite. He was the polite kid. However, she could feel the coldness in his voice. Of course, Midoriya has trained his quirks and he knows how to use them perfectly. But anyways, it was the coldness in his voice that really, really hurt her, because she knew that Midoriya was always a warm child. And anyways, now she does go home, and she does go to Bakugo's room and actually sees him on his table, on his chair, looking down, and she says, "I talked to Midoriya." And Bakugo says, "What did he say?" And she did have a conversation saying that Midoriya really doesn't hold him accountable. However, he's changed a lot after that, and he really doesn't seem the same. Bakugo says that it's the same for him. He even changed he doesn't call him Kachan anymore. He just calls him Bakugo. And his mom just encourages him to make friends with him again, and maybe that Kachan thing will return. And now she tells him that this is a life lesson, to not take things for granted, and to never bully anyone again. And then pretty much they go sleep. A full month passes, and it's the entrance exam for UA High. Midoriya does enter here, and All Might sees this. His heart started to race. He said, "Oh my days, Midoriya, oh my god, I found my vessel. I found the next successor of One for All. We did this, let's go, easy." Anyways, of course he knew that it was going to be hard for Midoriya to understand everything and to even believe him, because he doesn't seem like to be a fan that would believe anything that All Might would say. And so he's more like a normal person here. Anyways, Midoriya is more than capable enough, and he didn't have anything to worry here. Anyways, in the end, he did get pretty much max scores in his written exam, and now it's the practical. He was still set in Uraraka's and Ida's group for the robot test, and Midoriya was wiping out a lot of robots too. However, once the 0 pointer arrived, there was only one here. Once the 0 pointer arrived, Midoriya, everyone started running away, and pretty much the only person who couldn't get away was Uraraka. Midoriya wasn't going to take it on, not him. It's a robot. We don't know the gender. Anyway, Midoriya wasn't going to take it on. However, he sees Uraraka in trouble, And in the end, he actually helps out Uraraka and tells her to quickly run while he distracts her. And in the end, once he saves Uraraka, he had to fight the 0-pointer. Midoriya knew that this would pretty much drain him quite a bit, and realizes that even though he gets drained, he has to fight it because it will just be a liability in the end. And he knows that this will bring him no points. However, he just does it. And anyways, Midoriya then says, "Ye foolish creation, meet your creator," and then says cremation, and pretty much he cremates the whole thing. Man melts the thing, fam. He literally burns it to a crisp, and it's pretty much a puddle at this point of hot molten aluminium. But I'm joking. He pretty much melts it and tells everyone to stay away from this area. It's pretty hot. And anyway, they continue the test, and in the end, Midoriya does come first because of his rescue points and the points that he accumulated, and he was accounted as the best scoring student, even higher, well, not higher than the recommendation students. However, Midoriya was the highest scoring student in the tests without recommendations, because in the recommendation test you can get more points. Anyway, now, of course, Midoriya was at the top of this class 1A, and once he was accepted, Midoriya really wasn't excited or anything. Midoriya knew that he was going to get in because he truly had the ideology of a hero. Well, he doesn't really have that big of an ego. However, he knew that if they were searching for real heroes, for people who really knew what heroes were, that he knew that he would get in. Anyway, of course, All Might comes to his door a week before the school begins and explains everything to him. Midoriya understands and says, "So, you want me to be your successor? Are you sure?" All Might says, "Yes, you're a true hero." Midoriya then says, "If I was, well, I don't really, I don't know what to say, to be honest. I have 3 quirks anyway. Are you sure you want to give me your quirk?" And All Might was like, "3? I thought you had 1. Because Midoriya didn't use any other quirk. He was just using taijutsu, martial arts against the robots. And Midoriya's like, "Oh yeah, I don't think you know. Anyway, I'll show you what I mean by 3. How about we go out?" And Midoriya was gonna go out anyway. It was early in the morning, and they go to the beach that he cleaned up. And All Might asks, "Are you sure?" Like, he wanted to make sure that Midoriya did this. Well, if Midoriya really did it, and he was 90% sure he did, but just in case. And Midoriya says yes, he did clean it within a night. He did do it weekly before, just a few bits and pieces there. And in the end, he just decided to quickly get over with it, and pretty much did it in one night. And All Might was like, "Damn." Anyway, now, of course, Midoriya actually said to All Might to go into his full power. Midoriya knows how All Might looks at this point, and punch him as strong as he can, as hard as he can. Of course, All Might knows that his pretty much punches can change the weather. And anyways, Midoriya says, "It's whatever, it's raining anyway. You might as well just change it into a sunny day." And All Might says, "Whatever, okay then." And tells Midoriya to be careful and not die. And Midoriya promises that he won't. Midoriya takes this punch on with his full capacity, Infinity. Midoriya's quirk is very, very strong. He trained it to an extent that no one really knows how strong it is. All Might was struggling to get through it. However, his punch was so strong that it pretty much sent Midoriya flying. No, not flying, sorry. Midoriya's Infinity to half an inch. Midoriya realized how strong All Might is. However, he didn't really move from his spot. He moved an inch or two, however, truly was able to withstand it. All Might was like, "Whoa, what's that? I couldn't even touch you." And Midoriya says, "Well, you pretty much destroyed most of the quirk right there." And he was confused. And Midoriya explains by saying, "Alright, now try to hit me. Not with that phone, please. You'll kill me then." And of course, All Might goes back to his pretty much dead state and tries to punch his skinny form. And or not buffed form basically, and tries to punch Midoriya, but he's just whooping through him, and Midoriya's like, that's enough. He pretty much destroyed my infinity quirk, and explains everything about his quirk, and he knows the other quirk, cremation. And anyways, All Might was very, very confused on how Midoriya has all these quirks, and Midoriya says, remember my hair being green? Well, this is not hair dye. And he's like, what? And Midoriya says his hair went white because of all the stress, all the pain that he went through. He went white, and now he just grows white hair for some reason. That's why his hair is white. And All Might was like, fair enough. And in the end, Midoriya does inherit his power, even though he did ask All Might, is he sure? Because there are other people who are pretty much worthy and stronger than him right now. And All Might says, you will be the strongest hero ever. Even without this quirk of mine, you will be one of the strongest, or the strongest hero ever to have stepped foot into the world. You're a whole different kind of hero. Midoriya was still cold to people, giving cold stares, saying everything in a cold manner, however at the same time meaning good. Anyways, Midoriya was very strong. He never smiles at this point, and he only smiles to people he truly believes of. Pretty much, well, not believes, but he just smiles sometimes. Very rare case. Anyways, of course, once Midoriya was going to school the next week, Uraraka does come towards him and thanks him for his help. And Midoriya just says, it's whatever, giving a cold reply, which actually made it cold for Uraraka as well. She's like, damn, that was cold. And Ida was like, hey, you should have been a bit warmer to her. She thanked you. And Midoriya's like, oh, sorry. Was that not enough? Well, no problem. And he gives off a smile, which wasn't warm at all. His smile was very broken. He didn't know how to smile pretty much. His smile came out naturally. However, when he tries to force it, it just doesn't work. Anyway, now class starts, and Midoriya and everyone begin their pretty much hero life. Well, no, hero life. Their hero training. Anyway, and that is where I'm gonna end off. Class 1A is pretty much exactly the same, just that Midoriya is not at the end of the class, or at the bottom of the class, and can't he can use his quirk multiple times. And even All Might's quirk, he knows how to use it, not perfectly, however. He's not an idiot with it. He doesn't just go for one punch, one shot kill. No, he actually decides to channel the power that he gained from All Might throughout his whole body. And All Might did train him for a full week before the UA started. And anyways, now Aizawa does tell them about the test, and this will decide if someone will the people who will get kicked out, expelled, and people who will remain. And this is for the next part. Hope you all enjoyed it. Please stay safe. This was the King of Weebs. Don't forget to subscribe to Ratreet, Miniman on Tree, my friend Hxmesh, and also my second channel, the DB Love. I only do jungle words there. And also, don't forget to get your good quality anime merch from Beautiful Halo. Link in the description. Use my link and get 5% off on your next $49 plus order with the code MEME, MEME, and 10% off on your next $99 plus order with the code MEMES, MEMES. And also don't forget to follow Shokiro on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, and join the Discord server. And get your good quality lamps from lamptee.com. 10% off on any of your orders, any price, with the code lamptee-the King of Weebs. L is capital in lamptee, L, capital L, AMPTEE, double E, remember, dash the King of Weebs, all capital except for O and F, just like on YouTube. Anyways, the link is in the description below. Log in or register, whatever, on both Beautiful Halo and lamptee.com if you want to support the channel. I'm not trying to obligate you guys to do it. Anyways, my Kings, you're dismissed. This was the King of Weebs, and peace.